and welcome to Tuesday Talks. Today we're talking about buying and selling secondhand jewellery, and all jewellery really.
Yeah.
And we have our amazing Tilly with us today, who is our fountain of knowledge. We're always so amazed at how much she knows about jewellery. So we just want to kind of go through tips on buying and what to look out for, and also I've got some great stats, and then you can help me talk them through, Tilly. So first of all, depreciation of new jewellery. New jewellery loses 30 to 50% of its value the moment you purchase it. And that is like buying a new car. So it's the moment you drive it off the forecourt, that's it. It loses value. And that's the same case as new jewellery, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that there's so much that goes into the pricing of new jewellery in retail that just has to be accounted for. Obviously, the man hours of making it and all their advertising costs and
marketing, etc. So there's a lot that goes in. So it's always worth thinking about that. The resale value, the resale market of luxury jewellery has grown exponentially, and it's expected to reach $32 billion in 2025.
Wow.
Incredible. And this is driven mostly by the fact that consumers are becoming more and more switched on to the fact that jewellery is better to buy secondhand. You're getting really good value.
And it's a brilliant investment. I think a lot of that is driven by the gold price as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's reached heights that it's never reached before, and it's only going to go up.
Yeah. So explain to our followers how gold is priced. Is it just a standard?
So gold is priced, you can see live rates that are updated basically minute by minute.
Oh, really?
And there are great websites online, like Bullion by Post, that will tell you the gram weight for all the different purities of gold. And yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. I think that because it's obviously mined from the earth, there's only so much that we're going to get.
Yeah.
Resources are kind of limited.
Yeah, absolutely. So with gold, if I had sort of like a gold bracelet or something like a solid gold bracelet, wherever I went, the price would be standard.
Yeah, I mean, you can always work out the scrap value of any piece of jewellery you have basically by putting it on a pair of scales.
Yes, Tilly's got a pair of scales. She's got a really cute little pair of scales, don't you? So that's really interesting. And is that the same for diamonds, do you think?
It's very different with diamonds because you have to account for like the stone quality,
the clarity.
And as the size of diamonds go up, it's kind of exponential. It's not like per carat weight.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. Right, so also mining, I mean, I don't know whether this is of interest to anyone, but mining for new gold product produces 20 tons of toxic waste per ring. Is that right? Do you think
I don't know
that's true?
that. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, I mean, well, it comes from earthworks, and it's all kind of a campaign about sort of gold being dirty, but I suppose we could say that with about a lot of natural resources, can't we?
And there's so much in the cycle already. There's a lot of stuff, especially like jewellery that was made in the 80s, that's very, very heavy. A lot of people can't even afford that stuff anymore because the price for it is just crazy, and it will just be recycled into something new.
Something new. And so is that a good thing, like taking a gold that has been used and recycling it?
You can definitely do that. I know there are people that buy the gold to then have that commissioned into a piece by a jeweller, and obviously you might get a more competitive price on the gold if you are managing to buy it at those cheaper prices.
Amazing, unbelievable. And so this brings us on to sort of the difference now between sort of kind of luxury real gold and then all the cosmetic pieces like, and are they called cosmetic pieces?
Like more costume
jewellery, that's what it is. The costume jewellery, I know that Chanel have got their fine line of luxury, and then they've also got their more sort of costume. And the value of that, does that have value?
I think there's a huge collector's value in especially Chanel costume jewellery, and even a lot of the Dior costume jewellery. I know they used to have it, their license for Dior jewellery was sent to Grosse, which was a German company that had really high quality costume jewellery, and that's also very collectible. And I mean, you see videos that Chanel will post of them doing the enamelling in the studio. I mean, it's such a art form on its own. You know, there's always a value for that.
So there's a value for that. Okay, fine. Okay, so and then the last stat that we have is that 75% of luxury consumers say they are opening to buying pre-owned luxury jewellery, which is a fabulous stat that we've discovered.
Yeah.
And we've found that a lot more here, haven't we?
I think even selling, we've been getting a lot more fine jewellery pieces here recently.
Yeah, totally.
I think a lot of people maybe don't realise that the money that they put into it initially, they're going to get a good chunk of that back when they resell, because the materials alone hold a certain value, and then obviously we have quite a few Cartier or Tiffany pieces that also hold a value for the name of the company.
Yeah, true. That is true. So if we go on to sort of now selling, what are your tips for sort of selling secondhand jewellery?
I think it's always good to keep your pieces clean.
Yes,
it's good
absolutely.
for yourself because you're keeping them sparkly and gorgeous while you're wearing them.
Yeah, and also I think we mentioned this before in our previous Tuesday talk, is that it holds the value because the jewels don't get scratched or damaged from the dirt. So constantly cleaning them. And how would you clean?
I think you can obviously get like a little ultrasonic cleaner that you have.
Yes, we've got one of those.
Very easy because you just put it in and you press a button and you take it out and it's done. But I at home will just get a little bowl of warm water with a bit of washing up liquid in, let it sit in there for maybe 10 minutes and then get a soft toothbrush on it, and it helps get all the dirt out from all the little crevices in there.
Yeah, okay, fine. So now when you're buying secondhand jewellery, hallmarks and stamps, I have honestly, this for me is like almost impossible to understand, but Tilly knows all about this.
There are great resources online, and as long as you're buying from a reputable seller, they're going to be very transparent with what they're selling you as well. Most places are going to tell you what carat gold you're buying. They're going to probably have good information on the stones that are used in the jewellery as well. But there are kind of, in the UK, there's standard marks like 375 for 9 carat gold, 750 for 18 carat gold, and like online is the best place to learn any of those things. There are great big charts that will tell you all the hallmarks for different assay offices, different locations, and even date letters on them.
Oh wow. Okay, and so it's important when you're buying pre-loved jewellery to have a look at those hallmarks.
It's important, especially if you might be a bit unsure. It's nice to know that you have full English hallmarks because they have passed like a certain standard. You can get pieces that even have fake hallmarks.
Oh, really?
So if you're buying something and it just has a 375 on it, maybe if you aren't sure about the seller and you don't think they're that reputable, you might want to be a bit more careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also brands like Cartier, Tiffany, they've all got their own specific.
Yes, of course. There's also maker's marks on most English jewellery. It will have the maker's mark as well. Yeah.
And honestly, it's really important about buying it from a reputable pre-loved store, because that is also copied quite a lot as well, isn't it? And we can tell really easily. Anything else that we need to think about on the hallmarks?
I think it's not necessarily important that you know all of those things. Again, it's just about buying from someone reputable. There are great sellers. There's a huge jewellery community on Instagram where there are a lot of sellers that are trusted, and at antique fairs and online, anywhere you're buying from, there's going to be people that know what they're doing.
Yeah, what they're doing. Okay, so now we're moving on to kind of like the craftsmanship. And so when you're looking at jewellery, how do you sort of differentiate sort of something that is possibly better than something else?
There are a lot of intricacies in settings that are more like labour intensive, and you can tell, it might even make the stone look more sparkly than it actually is because
right.
they've been hand cut, the settings. Pieces that are cast, you can kind of sometimes see those seam lines in the casting. So yeah, I think that we look very closely at all of those details, and we have great stock come here.
Yeah, no, we are. We're very, very lucky. What about condition and wearability? Does that add to the value or decrease the value?
It definitely does, but when you're buying fine jewellery, it does hold up really well, and there aren't too many signs of wear. Often places you might see it is like on the bail of a pendant. It might, where a chain's been rubbing, go a bit thin, but they're also things that you can always take to a jeweller and they can repair for you.
Yeah, they can repair them. And also sort of buff things up and make them really, really shiny. So
yeah, I mean, some of that is kind of more personal preference. I think people buying jewellery today, a lot of them that might want to buy the vintage or even the antique jewellery, they kind of like the patina of the age that it has. It almost tells a story in itself. But
it's like a Louis Vuitton handbag.
Yeah, exactly. When you see the brown leather start to get the kind of...
Yeah, you love it. Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely. And then I suppose, what about provenance and rarity? Does that add to the value of the...
Definitely. I think, when you're buying Cartier and Tiffany and Van Cleef, all of those brands, it's so important that you have the provenance because they are copied so heavily.
So what else? What other tips can you give our followers on buying secondhand or selling secondhand?
I think one thing that is always great is we do it and lots of other jewellery sellers do it. They will tell you the weight of the item so you can kind of figure out what that scrap value is going to be yourself, and what the markups are. It's nice that that value is always going to be there, and it's good for making the decision on who you might want to buy from.
So when pieces come in, Tilly, just give us the kind of like what it is that you do when people come in to sell their pieces with us, and then how we value them together.
So we would weigh all the pieces. We have a loop, which is like a very strong magnifying glass to read all the hallmarks, to work out what the metals are. A lot of the stuff that we get is by certain brands, so there are good reference points there already that tell you what they retailed for, and I think we price really fairly for sellers as well. We want to make sure the sellers are getting a good portion back for their items, but they're also very competitive compared to retail prices because we are allowed to, we can sell things for basically half the retail price.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, super. Thank you so much for this. Has been really interesting. I've loved it. I hope everyone else has. So we are at Phoenix. We are moving more and more and more into selling luxury jewelry, and we've had some amazing pieces in. And Tilly is one of our big experts here at Phoenix, helping us to kind of check the provenance and also look at the weight of the gold and advise on pricing for the items. So if you're looking to sell jewelry or even buying, then get in touch. Thank you.